Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So there have been many developments on the ground in Gaza, and a recent report just uncovered something very dangerous about the 7th of October attacks, primarily in relation to the prior knowledge and prior public details about what was about to happen on the 7th of October. To begin with, in Gaza, in the past few days, there have been very intense clashes between Israel and the Palestinian resistance movements. Hamas Al-Qassam Brigade spokesperson Abu Ubaida, he came up with a press statement just a couple of hours ago where he said over 28 army vehicles were completely or partially destroyed in the last 24 hours. There have been a couple of reports last night that 60 Israeli soldiers were killed due to clashes with the Palestinian resistance movements. They're trying to go in from the southern part of Gaza, and there have been intense clashes over there. Also, from Lebanon, Hezbollah launched 20 rockets at the northern Galilee today, and yesterday Israel announced that over 11 soldiers were wounded. Now remember, Israel is not very transparent with the casualties, so everything is to be taken with a pinch of salt. Also, Yemen declared that they also attacked another Israeli ship, which brings us to a total of 3 ships in the last 2 days. So things have been very much heated in the last couple of days. Which brings us to the subject that was the main thing that I wanted to talk about, alongside a couple of other things after this, the 7th of October attacks. Now, many people, there have been lots of polls in Israel saying that lots of people don't believe the official Israeli narrative about the 7th of October attacks, and they believe that things are being hidden away from them. It was evident that the office of the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, destroyed some evidence just after the attacks on the 7th of October. Also, there have been multiple reports that IDF soldiers said that they have witnessed suspicious movements which were transferred to their leaders, but no action has been taken. So what's new with that regard? Well, it's actually a TV series. So last year in 2022, and this just came to surface right now, Hamas released a TV series produced in Gaza. It revolved around a special operation that Israel tried to undertake in Gaza and failed. It was a big thing a few years ago. They tried to install some devices in Gaza, and they were disguised as Gazans. They had like a car with a Palestinian number plate, people who looked completely like Arabs, and they went into Gaza, but they were caught by the security forces in Gaza. But they also spoke about an operation that was about to come in Israel. And the details of that attack were alarming. Let me tell you, for example, what they said. In the series, it had about 30 episodes, and it was published in 2022. They said that they will have a big ground invasion inside Israeli territories, which is not typical for Hamas to do. They usually launch rockets or have minor movements in the West Bank because they don't have a lot of military capabilities over there. They also mentioned in that program that they will be attacking Kisufim and Ra'im. And they also showed Israeli soldiers being alarmed by the level of intensity and the large scale of attacks, including many of them saying that this is an existential threat, which is almost identical to what they were saying after the 7th of October. This comes alongside a couple of other signs that Hamas was actually preparing a big, large-scale operation against Israel. So some of their military posts in Gaza had big signs on them saying, Ra'im, we are coming for you. And Israel could see that all the time. They have been training in different ways, many suspicious movements, like some of the IDF soldiers stated. And this raised further questions as to why Israel did not action what they were reporting, what they were saying. Did they take it lightly? Were they too busy with their inner problems? But the evidence was there that something was about to happen. So lots of rumors are going on at the moment inside Israeli circles about this program, particularly with the level of detail that it provided and how much it resembled the 7th of October attacks. Haaretz also just released an article today titled Hamas Massacre Included the Spread of Horror Stories, some of which did not happen. Now, they're being very careful with their wording, because previously I posted a video a couple of weeks ago about an article they published in which they claimed that Israeli investigations confirmed that the revelers in the massive festival, most of them, or they claimed some of them, but it was clearly most of them, they wouldn't say that they killed most of them or all of them, were killed by Israeli Apache strikes. This resonated to what many Israeli hostages said in the kibbutzes that were attacked by Hamas, that most of the Israeli civilians were killed due to crossfire and the shelling of tanks and Apaches on them, including direct gunfire, which is in complete opposite to the mainstream narrative that Hamas went in and massacred in the festivals and, the beheaded babies and all of this nonsense. So what did this article also mention in Haaretz? It specifically named people who were in charge of spreading the misinformation, and all of them are very high level. So they said the lies were spread by IDF officers who were there during the day and knew exactly what they were doing, but they wanted to spin the story around, which isn't something abnormal. We've seen a lot of evidence about the IDF spinning and lying and faking and planting evidence in Gaza and during the 7th of October attacks. But it wasn't just the IDF soldiers. It was also Zaka. Zaka in Israel are the first responders. They're in charge of picking the bodies of people who died in accidents or during war or attacks or whatever it is. Now, these people know and have a lot of information because they see things directly on the spot. So it's evident to them what happened. Some of them, according to this article, also spread lies about the 7th of October and how Israeli civilians died on the day or killed. In addition to Zaka and the IDF, the Rescue Union president also spread misinformation and lies, and that article also included none other than Sara Netanyahu, who is the wife of Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, they're being very careful with what they publish because they received a big backlash after they reported that Israel had responsibility to killing its own civilians on the 7th of October, unlike the mainstream narrative that Hamas killed all of these people. So they admitted, that there definitely was a massacre, but there was a lot of misinformation about it. Now, this is coming in a very dangerous moment because Israel has been witnessing massive protests against stopping the ceasefire. Many protesters in Tel Aviv went out in their thousands asking the government to completely stop the war and bring back the Israeli prisoners from Gaza. And there's a massive split in Israel about whether we continue full force or we completely stop the war. Even people who are visiting the families of those who lost their lives after the 7th of October attacks say that they're receiving completely opposite ideas from those families. So you have the families that say, if we don't go in all out and even build up the settlements in Gaza again, that means our sons have lost their lives for nothing. On the other hand, what they're saying is they also have families that are telling them, if we don't stop the war now and bring back the remaining prisoners, that means our sons have lost their lives for nothing. Now, this is coming with other reports in Israel that are basically steps to take Israel down the ladder. Lots of talk is going on about the fact that we cannot completely wipe off the Hamas. Many analysts are saying in Israeli television that, they're an idea, and even if we kill 40,000, we wouldn't be able to wipe them out, in a way to kind of prepare the public opinion to reach an all-out ceasefire and deal with the fact that Hamas is a reality that needs to be dealt with and cannot be completely beaten in Gaza. This resonates with what Yoav Gallant also said, that the aim is no longer to completely demolish the Hamas, but to harm their military capabilities and their control in Gaza, which is the complete opposite of what Netanyahu is still saying, that we want to demolish the Hamas and we want to gain full security control over Gaza. In one of my previous videos, I spoke about the massive split between both of them. They're both coming up with different statements and different objectives for the war. Netanyahu is saying we want to demolish them. Gallant is saying, no, we would just want to hurt their military capabilities. They couldn't even have a press conference together. And even when Netanyahu was asked by one of the journalists, why did you not have a press conference with Yoav Gallant, the defense minister, he said, I asked him, but he had his own ideas. So these are the latest updates from Gaza. I hope I added some information for you, and I'll see you soon in the next video. Take care.